Another wild week in the Western Conference about to come to a close as OKC Energy FC and Sacramento Republic, both sides who could really use 3 points, although in different efforts in the Western Conference table square off here at Taft Stadium. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on what's been an electric week in the USL Championships Western Conference. And let's take a look at the standings in the West right now, specifically seeds 4 through 13, because for the longest time these sides have been separated by ultimately nothing. Sacramento Republic, they're going after that number 4 spot. Meanwhile, for OKC Energy FC, they're just trying to keep their heads above water.
They got to find a way to do it as well because they've really been struggling in terms of results. They had a nice run of form and they've dropped off. Orange County handling their business against Tulsa last night. Sacramento Republic looking to keep pace. And not only that, not just jump into that final number 4 playoff spot, but if you drop points here, look who's sitting right behind you. Los Dos, New Mexico United, Austin Bud, all waiting in the pecking order to knock you off your perch. This is going to be a good one.
And for Steve Koch's side, it's been a rough couple of results. 3-1 loss against San Antonio FC. 3-1 loss against New Mexico United. The one bright spot, however, has been this man, Shawn Brown.
Still finding a way to keep your talisman goal scorer up top in terms of relevance. Happy is a really difficult thing to do when results aren't going your way. And again, they had that nice run where they took on Real Monarchs and they had some quality results for some teams. But unfortunately, that just hasn't been the same recently. They got to get back to a winning nature. And to do that, you find Shawn Brown out in space. Balls in between the back line, hugs that back shoulder really well, and of course, clinical from set-piece opportunities.
How about a striker on the other side of the ball for Simon Elliott, the Danish delight, and Thomasina Voltson, who has just been loving life since coming over from Indy 11.
We'll make this real simple for everybody if you're just tuning in. The system did not fit in Indianapolis. Indy 11 is a great squad, Martin Rennie an even better coach, but it just did not work out for Indy Voltson. He needs space out in front of him. He needs the ability to wander, similar to what you see out of Enzo Martinez in the Eastern Conference for the Charlotte Independents. You give him a tiny window to work with, he can make you pay. You give him a lot of space, he will make you pay in a multitude of ways, pushing himself all the way to the top in terms of statistics. He's already replicated what he did at Indy 11. He looks to push this team into the top 4 spot.
And Sacramento Republic, winners of their last 3 straight, certainly flying at the moment. Meanwhile, for OKC Energy FC, trending in a very different direction. They've dropped their last 2, but one thing remains the same. Both need 3 points, and it's coming your way next.
Goals are something we outline for ourselves, and oftentimes they can be pretty lofty. When things begin to line up the way we think they should, we appreciate those who helped us along the way, like the help you get with commercial banking from FFB. Our experts are ready to partner with you to help you manage cash flow, oversee accounts through online banking, and help you secure a business line of credit. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
Mercy helps the energy get to the top of their game. We can help you get to the top of yours.
Outlining your own destiny is something we all take pride in. And knowing we're doing what we love is what makes this life adventure so exciting. Isn't it nice to have a banking partner that's along for the ride? FFB makes life easier with a simple click and snap, so things like mobile banking and deposits can be done anywhere, anytime. Plus free bill pay, person-to-person transfers, and Apple Pay. With free ATMs worldwide, why wouldn't you want a bank that gives you this much freedom? FFB. We go where you go.
Almost ready for kickoff here at Taft as Lucas Spalla and his crew walk out both Sacramento Republic and Oklahoma City Energy FC for what should be an awesome 90 minutes here in the heart of the United States. And we'll take a look at the starting 11s, beginning with Steve Koch's OKC Energy FC. And tonight's starting lineups are provided by First Fidelity Bank, proud partner of Energy FC. Devin, what are we looking at?
International break, injuries, some legal issues, and we'll get deeper into that once the match starts. But first and foremost, Chris Duval, former MLS man from Montreal Impact, Houston Dynamo, coming in. He will move into the right back position. Mikkel Williams will go back to the left side where he belongs. Ibiaga Tibaeris. Those two are going to remain the same, and of course, Cordy Lorendi. The shape going forward is the real question here. You don't have a true number 10. They like to play Watson in there, but they don't have the personnel to do it. So you expect to see a flat 4, push 2 up top. Sacramento Republic FC, yeah, 4-2-3-1. Pretty standard at this point in time in the season. Hansopoulos comes onto the back line next to Matt Mahoney. Ini Voltson, we already talked about him. Viljan Bijev makes his way back into the starting 11. He'll go over to the left-hand side. Aliman on the right. That will be an interesting matchup as he will run rampant against Jonathan Brown. He is going to have his hands full. Bonoma looks to get back in the scoring charts up top in the number 9 position.
And of course, Chris Duval coming over for Oklahoma City Energy FC as reinforcements, given all the injuries and passport problems that they've had. But Chris Duval has a ton of experience at the Major League Soccer level. He's a terrific outside back, and boy, do they need him in a bad way. Oklahoma City Energy FC, a side that just has 5 clean sheets on the season. As Lucas Spalla gets us underway from Taft Stadium, we invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game. Tyler Terrence, along with the former German pro Devin Kerr, thank you so much for tuning in. Oklahoma City Energy FC in their all whites, the Quails in their all maroons, and away we go. Mentioned OKC Energy FC dropping their last 2 to both San Antonio FC and New Mexico United by the same scoreline of 3-1. And for Sacramento Republic, a 3-game winning streak coming into tonight. 2-1 win over RGV. Darius Formella with a game winner. Of course, after just finding out a few hours before kickoff in that game against RGV that his father had passed away after battling with cancer for a number of years. And a really emotional moment for Darius Formella as his emotions just simply brought him to his knees and brought him to tears, scoring that game-winning goal. He is back in his home country with his family at this most difficult time, and our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to him and his loved ones in this very tough juncture. And for Sacramento Republic, before the RGV win, it was a 2-1 win at Austin, which sounds like a good result about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but a lot of teams are going in there and doing that as of late. As Cordy Lorendi will scoop this up. And then it was a 3-0 win against the Tacoma Defiance. And Thomasina Voltson, along this 3-game winning streak, Devin, is just about an absolute tear. And he might just be one of the missing cogs to really push this Sacramento team into new heights.
Going back to that 2-1 win at Austin Bold, chatting with some of the backroom staff for Sacramento Republic. I just said, you know, it seems like you guys are getting back on track. There's a lot of confidence coming in terms of your overall performances. Ini Voltson's come in and giving you guys the ability to explore the final third a bit more. Of course, Cam Iwasa making his way back from a little injury he picked up in training and last match out. And I said, but, you know, your overall results, they haven't necessarily blown anybody away in terms of who they've beaten. And so, okay, you beat Colorado Springs, you lose to Phoenix. You lose to Los Dos. You beat Tacoma. You beat RGV. Those aren't exactly teams, especially in terms of relevance of the playoff scenarios, that are great arguments for, you know, what's going on going forward and above you. So now you get a chance, you go on the road to Austin Bold, and I said, is that your best win? Because I feel like if you're able to go on the road and get points against OKC Energy FC, that is your marquee win. And the exact words, no, Austin Bold was all we wanted. Austin Bold gave us the confidence based upon the fact that they haven't given up a lot of points there. We went in there, and coming out, we feel like we can now beat anyone in the Western Conference.
Well, this is a side that's been dispatched by the Swope Park Rangers in the last 2 editions of the USL Championship postseason. Last year was at Papa Murphy's Park. 2017, it was at Children's Mercy. As this long throwing comes in, knotted away, and Omar Gordon just lashes in the other direction, hoping that Shawn Brown will be able to run onto it, but Matt Mahoney has it covered. It goes all the way back for Bobby Shuttleworth, and he has a cool head and plays it for Hansopoulos. And for OKC Energy FC, a side that's only won back-to-back games twice this year. Once at the beginning of the season, and most recently, they actually had a win against Austin Bold in T2, as Chris Duval is called for the foul. Duval, 28 years old, from Duluth, Georgia. Viljan Bijev was the recipient of that hard knock.
He's someone in this lineup going forward that has to find a way to be given a bit more confidence. Because a guy who's had a lot of impact on a lot of their matches going forward. Unfortunately, the statistics just haven't been what they have in years past. That's not a knock on him in general. In and out of the starting 11 and the 18, to be honest. And with new additions like Voltson coming in, They're going to be tested a bit further in terms of depth. You got Allen on the right. Of course, Sam Warner gets involved quite regularly. He's been a bright spot for this team, and even some other guys that just been able to rotate left to right and give someone else a chance. So when you are pushed into the limelight, what are you going to do with that opportunity?
Ina Voltson stabs it down, hoping that Villarreal will be able to get there. He does and sprays it out wide. Juan Barahona, midseason acquisition, occupying that left back spot for Simon Elliott. And the long switch towards the other side for Kevin Aleman. Good defensive header, and it stays with the Quails. And it was William Bijev who actually came over late in the 2017 season and helped that Sacramento side upset the Real Monarchs, who had absolutely dominated the regular season. That game was in Salt Lake City, and Sacramento won in penalties, and then went on to fall to the Swope Park Rangers. And his long throw, and again, not really causing too many problems for Oklahoma City Energy FC. Another long throw in from Jordan McCrary. This one a bit more direct. Knotted away, but not out of trouble. Barahona pops it up, takes a great effort, and Cody Lorendi forced to make an even better save. Barahona knew exactly what he wanted to do with it, and Cody Lorendi, an outstretched paw, remains 0-0 here in the 5th minute.
One of their midseason pickups, using great vision. The ability to not just put this on frame, but put it with enough power from distance. Great first touch that sets himself up, and to your point, Tyler, he had made up his mind before he even took this first touch to try and go after Cody Lorendi. Set the tone a little bit early that Lorendi's going to need to keep a watchful eye from distance.
So early pressure from the visitors. They've been the team that's in form, and they look like a side that's ready for the postseason. Can't necessarily say the same for Steve Cook's group. Dropping their last 2 games in rather convincing fashion. Comes in at the near post, takes a deflection. Cordell Cato gets rid of it. Callum Ross wasn't exactly sure where the ball went. It'll be with Chris Duval over on the far side of Taft. Here's a look at Steve Cook, who takes a very practical approach to his managerial duties. Not the most glamorous of records since taking over, but a large part in that record, Devin, is due to the fact that they only won one of their first 9 games last year. They went on to go win 6 of their last 11, including a couple of draws. So they were able to put a little bit of a streak together at the end of the 2018 campaign, but it was too little too late. And it just seemed like all throughout 2018, he said, boy, if we had just won 2 or 3 games at the start of the season amidst that one, then they possibly could have made the postseason.
Don't do yourselves any favors when you just stumble out of the blocks like that. And, you know, quality to them that they could continue forth in this season and find a way to be able to have a nice little run of form from the end of the year. And that was a bit different at the start of the 2019 season, where they have put together a ridiculous roster. I mean, you just look at everybody that's been involved in this organization over the course of the season. Unfortunately for Steve Cook, as we mentioned earlier, there are just so many injuries. And most recently, everything that's played out for them, hence the reason that they picked up Chris Duval, which is a phenomenal pickup, has been, and we talked about it just a little bit there, where you lose Alvin Jones and Javon Watson to the international break. And just after the New Mexico United loss, Rafa Garcia had actually had a little bit of knee pain, and you know, they treated him to get him through the match. Unfortunately, he's actually gone through knee surgery now. And he's probably about 3 or 4 weeks away. Josh Garcia pulled a quadricep when he was away with the Dominican Republic. He as well will be out 3 or 4 weeks. Alvin Jones, away on international with Trinidad and Tobago, is dealing with a visa issue, hasn't been able to make his way back into the country. He actually has his visa, but now he's just struggling to get his hands on his passport after that was taken away. Word is that it's on its way, and you know, that's a day-to-day type thing. They thought they might have him this weekend, not the case. So you bring in Chris Duval and Ian McGrath. Now an opportunity to add 2 guys that pretty talented, to be honest. Ian McGrath, some time spent with Nashville, though he was on loan with International almost the entire time. Great additions to the team, but you just think if you can have Rafa Garcia, Cal Ocott even. They had Alexi Bassetti, who they sent to El Paso Locomotive as well. Great attacker in the middle of the field who did wondrous things for him. But unfortunately, you got to find a way to put it all together. And it seems like basically since mid-season last year until, as you and I are chatting, they just have not been able to do so, hence why they are right on the cusp of the playoff berth.
Well, with a win today, they can claim that they are inside the playoff picture, but it's a tall task going up against this Sacramento group as it's fought for in the middle of the park and sent towards Kevin Aliman, but out of play, and both sides just sort of feeling each other out in the opening 10 minutes or so. I mean, it's great to have so many players that are featuring for their country, but it's coming at a cost for Steve Koch and Oklahoma City Energy FC.
They had a point in time mid-season when the break came about for Gold Cup that it was 8 players overall.
They were traveling with 13 or 14 every game.
How do you put together a game? I mean, honestly, with rotation and midweek games, it's just almost impossible for a manager to be able to field someone, and that's why you saw the ability, or I should say inability, for them to put together multiple wins.
Bijev trying to keep it in play. He's able to do so. Fires a shot on at Cody Lorendi. But now it looks like the whistle's going to blow for the ball being out over the byline. Bit of a late one. And it was Viljan Bijev, the Bulgarian native who ended up moving to Fresno, California. Speaking of Fresno, they booked their ticket to the postseason for the first time in franchise history. Getting a look here, and that's right where the ball went out. Fresno, of course, slaying the dragon that is Phoenix Rising FC last night and stopping the winning streak at 20 games. The Quails and Simon Elliott were part of that. They had a dogfight at Casino Arizona Field where Cami Wassa scored the first goal. Ended up being an own goal for Juan Barahona and then a deflected goal from Joey Farrell. That was the unraveling of the Quails. They're looking to get back to the postseason. They've made their way to the playoffs in every single year of their existence, including the 2014 USL Championship. Only expansion side to ever win it in their first year of existence. Under what manager?
Preki.
Chicken.
Shout out to the Charlotte Independents. Gotta love those ads.
Rather slow start here. Jordan McCrary. Forced to go negative here. Working on Cordell Cato, lays it off. Callum Ross. Gordon gets fouled from behind. This is an Oklahoma City team, Devin, that it's just been wildly middle of the road, pedestrian.
Vanilla.
In every facet. They score a decent amount of goals, but they don't get a lot of clean sheets. They win a couple of games, they lose a few games. I mean, everything has just been right down the middle, and nothing's really excited you. Probably one of the more exciting times for Steve Koch in Oklahoma City this year was during the U.S. Open Cup. They handed the Tampa Bay Rowdies their first loss. That game was actually at OU. But that was when they had everybody at their disposal. They were firing on all cylinders. Alvin Jones was playing great football. Alexi Bassetti was part of the roster at that time. That was eons ago. And they're looking for some sort of magic, something to sort of give them new life. And maybe the insertion of Chris Duval could be that, because even when they do get Alvin Jones back, he is going to vie for an outside back position.
Just run back through the results, and let's go back to that Open Cup run where if I told you now that they had draws in terms of their results this year against Los Dos, New Mexico United, Fresno, and San Antonio, 2 of those at Isotopes Park, by the way, and Chuck Chansey, you'd say, I'll take it all day long. The problem is they were all in a row. They went 6 unbeaten, and one of the wins, or the only win, I should say, was Colorado Springs. So that's why they've gotten themselves into trouble. And it kind of all comes full circle to what you're talking about, where you go out and get some really big pieces. You know, you bring Omar Gordon over from San Antonio FC. Nice pickup. You bring Cordell Cato over from the Charlotte Independents. Great pickup. Same thing for Javon Watson. But you can't get them all on the field at the same point in time. And it doesn't matter how much work you do in the offseason, whether it's international break, injury, or like what we're talking about with Alvin Jones, where kind of a combination of both international break, now deal legal issues, getting him back into the States. It's a cause for concern for Steve Koch, and you know, obviously something that they'll probably navigate a bit differently going forward. And that's not to say that they're not going to keep those players. That just means they need to find a way to have a bit more depth involved in the roster. So if you're going to lose 6, 7, 8 guys, you got to have the way to rotate in other players so that it's not a massive drop-off in terms of performances. And specifically, you're not turning losses into draws and vice versa, you're pushing that into 3 points. And again, that's why they're sitting at the bottom of the table.
Big touch from Kevin Aleman, but straight to the feet of Christian Ibiaga, 29-year-old from Port Harcourt. He was a Blue Devil at Duke University during his collegiate days. Ibiaga paired up with Atiba Harris along the back line. Skundrich. Villarreal, nobody stepping to him yet. Nina Wilson coming extremely deep to receive the ball. Now wants to be the playmaker in the middle of the field for Sacramento. Hansopoulos pushes it along for Aleman. Clean possession here from the Quails. McCrary. Trying to wiggle his way out of trouble, but gets bottled up and left something behind him. Now it's Cordell Cato, and this is where OKC Energy FC can hurt you on the counter. But Cato won too many touches right in front of his manager, Steve Koch. Omar Gordon with a bit of pressure. Cato desperately trying to win it back, but Sacramento will claim it.
They're definitely going to need to push the pace if they want to go after the Quails, especially as high as Barahona and Jordan McCrary like to play. Could turn into a lot of 2- and 3-man games on the back line with Villarreal sitting, helping out Mahoney and Hansopoulos. And interesting enough that Steve Koch has actually rotated Jonathan Brown inside next to Callum Ross. That is a look that we have not seen from Energy FC this year. We were speculating as to how this would look going forward. Expected that they would go flat across the middle and let Watson sit in there. And I was talking to you about Javon Watson. They brought him in really to be their number 10. That's a far cry from what he's done for the Jamaican national team, or most recently the Charlotte Independence under Mike Jeffries back in 2018. But with the departure of Alexi Bassetti, they needed a playmaker. I feel like he's the man to do it. You will see Omar Gordon and Cordell Cato flip-flop side to sides. They've already started to do that. But notice that Deshawn Brown not dropping back whatsoever. That allows Drew Skundrich and Villarreal to have a bit more time to play in the middle when you don't have the presence from the striker up top, providing a little defensive pressure.
Energy parents, sign your kids up for the all-new Energy FC Kids Club presented by Supermercados Morelos. Visit energyfc.com/kids club to learn more. Volts in a heavy touch in the middle of the field. It'll fall for Callum Ross, and he's looking to go long over the top for Deshawn Brown. The flag stays down. Brown skies it, but it looked like the offside flag actually went up anyway. And indeed it did.
Just in the background, you could hear the whistle from the referee. This is where he's at his best, though, and we showcased that at the top of the broadcast, where he'll just sit very quietly up top, play that vertical roll, moving side to side, always trying to find a way to push himself into space. Great job by Callum Ross. Distribution from about 40 yards away, just putting this out in front of him, letting him run at those back two. Hansopoulos on the right side behind Jordan McCrary. But it's the space in between you have to keep an eye on. And that is something where if you're Villarreal or Drew Skundrich, it's nice to have a bit more space and time in the middle of the field to help this offense going forward, but you have to be wary about what's going on behind you.
Long-range effort from Bonomo. And the issue, or the good thing for OKC Energy FC and for Deshawn Brown, is that he's faster than any center back in the league. And the problem is that, correct me if I'm wrong, if OKC Energy FC are going to go quickly, the chances are that the opposition's outside backs are further up the field, and they're not anywhere near Deshawn Brown to try to get him in a foot race. I mean, the goal against New Mexico United was picturesque Deshawn Brown. Long ball over the top. It was actually a great pass from Callum Ross, or excuse me, it was Christian Isley actually. And it was just an outstanding finish with his left foot, bottom corner, and it happened in a matter of about 3 seconds.
Teams marking him figure things out, though, where, okay, we can't necessarily get into a foot race and win that battle. So how do you win it? Well, you play the angle game. You have to break down a little bit, put a body on him, just like you're seeing right there. So if he does hold the ball up, where's the second and third run coming from? That's what Energy FC have to get better at, to where if Deshawn Brown can't go one-on-one with someone like we saw moments ago, Cordell Cato, Javon Watson, Omar Gordon, they have the pace, at least in terms of Cato and Gordon, to get up and help their man up top turn this into a 2- and 3-man game. But again, the way that recent run of form has been, you just haven't seen that. Deshawn Brown very much isolated in a scorer's position.
Skundrich. Over for Aleman. Working on Cato. Out of the reach of Bijev, and nobody there on the backside for Sacramento. It's a rare miscue in such tight quarters from Aleman. And it goes back to the home side. Here's a look at newly acquired Chris Duval. And his godfather, believe it or not, Billy White Shoes Johnson.
So you said you had a little stat for me. I didn't see that coming.
And for those of you who don't know, Billy White Shoes Johnson more or less invented end zone celebrations in the NFL. I mean, this guy started all of that. As this is a great header put on by Thomasina Voltson, and Koto Lorendi makes the save. More on that in a moment. Corner kick coming up for Sacramento Republic. And first real chance of the night coming by Thomasina Voltson.
This is what I was talking about when we showcased him, where, yeah, you give him a load of room to run with, he'll take advantage of that, but it's the tiny windows that he also makes you pay in. This is where he did have success at Indy 11. Small little movements, quick little balls coming in from Tyler Pasher. Of course, Bijev, a bit different in stature. Very similar in players. We're just quick pace down in and knock it in, let the Dingo get it.
Bijev, good ball across. It took a deflection off of an OKC Energy FC player. And we'll do it one more time just from the near side. And Sacramento threatening again, just like they did in the opening 5 minutes or so. Been a bit of a stalemate since. 20 minutes gone here at Taft, still no score. Ball towards the back post. First time effort always going wide from Hatsopoulos. And it was interesting when Chris Duval found out that he was going to be moving from the New York Rebels to the Montreal Impact. He actually sought out the advice of his godfather, Billy White Shoes Johnson, because he had played for the Montreal Alouettes of the CFL. It's all coming into one big sports circle.
It's a circle.
Always,
not a
always
square.
has been. No. Could be a quadrilateral.
I'm blown away by your little nugget that you just pulled out, by the way. Well, it's funny because to some people, they might have no clue who he is, but I can remember growing through agility, strength and conditioning training programs where we were doing ladders, and they would always show us videos, no exaggeration, of Billy White Shoes and Icky Woods. And it was, do the Icky strut, check out Billy's celebration. And that's how they wanted you to move in and out of the ladders. And it's kind of funny how years later, we won't say how many, that it's come back into a talking point.
Duval's family and Billy White Shoe Johnson's family grew up next to each other in the metropolitan Atlanta area and just sort of became great family friends as the years went on. Here's Mikkel Williams. Brown looking for an option. He's just going to split the double team. He just muscles off Aliman and spreads a big ball towards the other side, but just out of the reach of Omar Gordon. That's one way to get out of trouble if you're Shawn Brown.
You can sort of see that CONCACAF island-style football where coming out of the back, those long balls up front, utilize their athleticism to the best of their advantage. Shawn Brown coming back in, and I like the shoulder charge, but the better look here is to go all the way back around to your right back. When you play long balls like that, you got to do it in transition. You got to do it quick. When you sit a bit slower and methodically are trying to make your way up the field, Sacramento Republic is too good defensively to be broken down in that manner, because that's not going to be a one-on-one situation. Exactly how it played out. This ball comes down in the near touchline. You have 2 and 3 of the Quails breaking you down, and credit to Shawn Brown for winning the challenge, but still, that long ball all the way across to Omar Gordon was always going to be a rough ask.
Big step from Duval. Callum Ross fending off Drew Skundrich. Creates a little bit of space for himself, and now it's Cordell Cato. More than 100 caps with the San Jose Earthquakes, and everyone going out of play. You can see the frustration of OKC Energy FC. In particular, Javon Watson. Really not used to seeing him in that number 10 role. He was playing a deep lying 6 for Jamaica during the Gold Cup, and he more or less started every single game, including the semifinal against the United States.
They were just frustrated that both he and Shawn Brown were making the same run, and Shawn Brown, Jesus. My head is...
Shawn Watson,
my
goodness
NFL
me.
all day. My apologies to the viewers. I'm so sorry. And to Shawn Brown and Javon Watson, when he comes back over to the near side, the two of them just have to communicate a bit better. And what Javon Watson is a 10 for this team reminds me a lot of a Colombian player I used to watch quite regularly growing up in Carlos Valderrama. And I don't mean that in terms of skill set. I mean in terms of speed, where Javon Watson's not going to break you down in a one-on-one situation a lot, but he's very technical on the ball. And so he'll kind of wander in this gray area from, you know, center circle one side to top of the 18 the other, and just kind of moves back and forth. And again, it's not going to be a lot of triangular play where he's going to be on the receiving end of it. Moving forward, he's going to be the one to look to play those in. Quick little 1-2 balls where you can find Cordell Cato overlapping, or when he does move down into the channel, you can look to guys like Callum Ross coming out of the middle, Shawn Brown rotating back over. But that all comes back to the communication between the 3 and 4 guys, whether up top or in the middle. And that's not a look that you see at the professional level anymore, where your number 10 is a guy who maybe isn't necessarily as fast as others, but as long as he's clean on the ball and a quality passer, you'll get away with it. And as Steve Cook talked about that, just says that he really likes his distribution coming out of the middle, and you're starting to see exactly why as he goes side to side. How did the Texans do, by the way?
Bonomo sliding it through. Olsen was trying to get there, but a good defensive play. Looked like it was Jonathan Brown retreating for Energy FC, and indeed it was. The Welshman fulfilling his defensive responsibilities, and a corner kick coming up for the Quails.
A lot of big matchups going on right now. There's Callum Ross marking Indy Voltson. I've actually been impressed with Jonathan Brown paired up with Callum Ross in the middle. Loads of height, and look how they just stack everything on the front post. Watch the rotation coming all the way back around.
Cody Lorendi sort of caught in no man's land. That skips all the way through and out for a goal kick. Lorendi, of course, who has appeared for the Puerto Rican national team. Actually squared off against Atiba Harris, his teammate, in a CONCACAF Nations League qualifying game a number of months ago. Lorendi actually put on quite the show. Ended up being a 1-0 decision in favor of St. Kitts and Nevis. Devin, you said to me at the top of the broadcast, you said that you hoped that this was going to be a bit of a track meet, but it's been anything but.
The opportunities have been there as well with Energy FC having a couple chances. They've absorbed some pressure, and when they look to go the other way, just haven't pulled the trigger.
Here's Thomas Enevoldsen. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. He does so, and Cody Lorendi needs to get rid of it. Enevoldsen has been right in the middle of any chance that's come to the way of the Quails. And Lorendi up to the task once more.
Credit to the decision-making by the goalkeeper on this one as Cody Lorendi is stepping back. You'd think, okay, well, why doesn't he put 2 hands on it? Well, he's going back across his body, up over that left shoulder. Better safe than sorry, as Enevoldsen saw him off his line. He goes to one of the upper corners. That's 1-0 Sacramento.
Another good corner whipped in. Bounces in the area. The header put on. In again from Skundrich, and Lorendi smothers it. Questionable marking by Steve Cook's OKC Energy FC, and Drew Skundrich almost made them pay.
Not only that, but where's the urgency for someone to go challenge the second and third ball here as they get a little set piece where they come all the way to the back post? Jonathan Brown marking Bijev. How about Drew Skundrich doing a good job getting himself on the third chance all the way on the backside when it comes over. But just sitting right in front of him is Shawn Brown, and you got to understand that it's not just going to be the initial ball knocked in. So much talent on the pitch for the Quails. Unfortunately, they just haven't been able to execute so far.
Duval caught himself in a bit of trouble. Almost fell for Jonathan Brown. That'll fall for Bonomo. Checks up, and his shot always sailing wide. Bonomo, of course, who was originally with New York Rebels organization, then with Tampa Bay Rowdies before coming over to the Quails. And under the tutelage of that man, Simon Elliott, who was looking to keep the streak going for Sacramento and qualifying for the playoffs in each of their years of existence. And it seems like 2019 will be no different, but how far they go And you could say that since their championship season in 2014, they've had disappointing runs whenever they have gotten to the playoffs. 2017 was a bit different as the 8 seed upsetting the Monarchs. I don't think anybody expected them to get past that point. And then for OKC Energy FC, missing out, of course, last year and in 2017 under the White Puma and Jimmy Nielsen, who, of course, is now the head coach of Hartford Athletic over in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the makeup of that team compared to Steve Cook's was so unbelievably different. OKC Energy FC, I said this to you, and I wonder if you agree, was probably the best Western Conference defensive team that we've seen since Phoenix Rising this year. They put in 11 clean sheets that regular season. They only gave up 1 goal in 3 postseason matches against Reno, San Antonio FC, and Swope Park Rangers in the 2017 postseason.
The statistic itself is pretty impressive, but it's the company that they did it against, which is probably where your main talking point is, and I'm not going to disagree with it. I'm sure plenty of people out there would try and sway you in another direction, but that's a pretty good argumentative statement about what went on here prior to Steve Cook's arrival, and of course the DNA a bit different now. Nothing wrong with that. For Sacramento Republic, black and white, this is one of the most talented teams in all the USL Championship, similar to what they've experienced here for Energy FC. They just haven't necessarily been able to put it all together as well. It has gotten better as the season's gone on. I can remember earlier on this year where you and I just kind of looked at each other opening 8 games or so, just what's going on out there with Simon Elliott's boys. But when you keep the DNA of a team, as Simon Elliott was able to do for Sacramento Republic, some pretty experienced ones, obviously Bijev is in there, but you add guys like Ray Sari, holding midfielder, pretty impressive. Drew Skundrich as well, who's continuing on not just his professional career, but his expansion as an individual, where he's asked to do more offensive things this year. You bring in impressive players like Stefano Bonomo, who obviously scored a ridiculous amount of goals for Red Bull 2, 24 in 64 matches. FYI, Eni Volton, Sam Warner, Jordan McCray. I mean, the list goes on and on. For you to maintain quality talent, but also make additions like that, just feel like the results should be better than where they're currently sitting at the table.
Past the half-hour mark here at TAF, Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on the final day of week 29 in the USL Championship. 3 points for OKC Energy FC. They will be inside the playoff cutoff line. 3 points for Sacramento Republic, and they're starting to make a real case for the number 4 seed in the West, which of course will get you a home game in the quarterfinals after the inaugural play-in round. Good ball from McCrary and a good defensive play coming from Atiba Harris. As he is, Christian Ibiaga were trying to deal with the ball in from McCrary into the corridor of uncertainty. Bonobo was the target, and a corner kick coming up.
This is something that Sacramento needs to start doing much more regular going forward, where it's that quick little switch all the way across the field. Neither Omar Gordon or Cordell Cato are tracking back very deep. So by continuing the quick transitions, you have a lot of space to work with, especially when Jordan McCray can push himself up, and then you can add extra runners into the box. Creates a mismatch in numbers as well as height, based upon all the numbers that Sacramento Republic can have.
A lot of pressure from Javon Watson and company, but clearance from OKC Energy FC is just that, and it runs all the way out of play. Sacramento bowing out last year to Swope Park Rangers at the hands of a really talented Haji Berry-led side. And Paulo Nagamura's first year as head coach of the Swope Park Rangers, taking over for Nikola Popovic, as he now, of course, is with Ottawa Fury FC. That game was at Papa Murphy's Park. Sacramento started the scoring. An equalizer and then a game winner from Haji Berry.
There's a good shout from manager of Energy FC just a moment ago. Steve Cook saying up, up, easy out. And he's exactly right, as this ball got knocked all the way over to the far touchline. Everybody in a white jersey has to be much quicker in their step going forward to help close this space down. Obviously the ball wasn't in play. You want to play a higher line. And what ends up happening is when they put it in quickly and move the ball back inside, guys like Eni Volton, Drew Skundrich have the ability to have a lot more time on the ball. And that freedom to express themselves is exactly what Simon Elliott is looking for. Energy FC not doing themselves any favors.
Skundrich wins the header, but OKC Energy FC Able to take a deep breath, and Cody Lorendi claims it. Mikkel Williams. Callum Ross over to the far side for Chris Duval. Poor first touch sets him up for disaster as William Bijev takes it away. Finding Ina Voltson, first time effort with the left foot. Bit of a lollipop, always going over the bar. Yeah, Thomasina Voltson able to accomplish offensively on the statistics side in about 7 appearances with Sacramento and what he did within the 11 and 20 appearances. But again, so different, not only the styles of play, but also the competition in the Eastern Conference. And I think that's a massive talking point in terms of if people are going to look at, well, maybe Thomasina Voltson wasn't putting in the proper effort within the 11. It's nothing of the sort. It's the situation that he was in. As that's a good ball for Omar Gordon, but a better play from Bobby Shuttleworth, who really hasn't had much action tonight besides what you just saw. 10 minutes remaining until the halftime whistle.
Just an unfortunate chance that Czech Republic had to go real quick. I like the idea. Brought it down off the chest, but unfortunately, Alemon rotating all the way back across. Couldn't pull the trigger quick enough. Well done by Bonomo to help occupy his space on the right in terms of the defensive duties. This is where Energy FC have a real good opportunity. One-on-one and go after it. But again, it's that final ball that is just escaping all of them. Omar Gordon, good cut in. There's no reason to come back across and play it down in.
Well, what's he going to do with it, even if he gets there?
No one's in the box.
Yeah.
And you have no way to then put a third pass together. And that's some of the decision-making that has just been escaping OKC over the past few matches. Again, we talked about how impressive they had been in the month of August prior to their last 2 losses, where draws against Real Monarchs, wins against Austin Bold, Portland Timbers 2. We're just hoping they would continue to replicate that. And at one point in time, and I get it, it's not the greatest argument, but for about 30 hours they were sitting in that 4 spot. Again, so have every other team in the Western Conference.
Yeah, seriously,
so.
your spot in the Western Conference, unless you're in the top 3, doesn't last you more than basically 1 day or 2. Hottest team in the West right now that Phoenix have gone down, it's got to be Orange County, right?
6 in a row. 6 in a row against some really good competition as well. Got a fun little schedule up and coming for their quest at a top 4 position. It'd be an outside shot to move into 2nd or 3rd, because I don't see Fresno or Reno relinquishing any of that, and from a point standpoint, they shouldn't. Stranger things have happened, but look at Orange County SC and their future upcomings. On the road at RGV, they will take on Energy FC on October 5th. On the road, Real Monarchs. On the road, Sacramento Republic. Not an easy stretch of 4.
The ball the other way. Gordon trying to get it out from underneath his feet. Jordan McCrary, it looked like got the last touch to it, or did he?
And by the way, they will finish off their season, Orange County SC and Braden Coutier, the team that's been so impressive recently in terms of form. We'll be hosting the Fresno Foxes, the team that dethroned Phoenix Rising last night. We'll see how that plays out. That is not a fun one that I'd like to be on the bus for. I just wonder, with 7+ to go here in the first half, any chance for Energy FC to relieve some of the pressure. They've been absorbing wave after wave of possession for Sacramento Republic, though not a lot of opportunities for either squad.
Grid and the OKC Energy FC faithful trying to get into it, looking for a go-ahead goal before the halftime whistle. It's been a rather lackluster first 38 minutes. But the Energy fans trying to inject just that into what's been a rather lifeless game. Good ball in, punched away by Shuttleworth. Cato brings it down, now he'll have a go. Always scuffed it in the end. Callum Ross back in on his best ball. Offside flag was up, but the referee says play on.
Watch out, there's a load of space here for Sacramento.
William Bijev taking that space, but closed down quickly by Duval. Bijev puts it on frame, or at least trying to. They took a deflection, though, and a corner kick coming up for the Quails.
All of this room to run with for Sacramento Republic. A shot from 25 yards out is probably not the best look you could have gotten out of it.
All this sluggish and purposeless play, I assume, Devin, is going to be a prelude to what should be a 6-goal shootout in the second half, no?
Better be, otherwise you're calling this game by yourself.
Knotted down, and OKC can see it out.
Credit to the defensive units and how much discipline they've had in terms of what their opponent has gone at. To be fair, the decision-making in and around the 18 has definitely not been impressive whatsoever from either team. Just moments ago, you saw Bijev where he cuts inside. Multiple options to his left and his right, including Enevoldsen, who's been on this great streak. And instead elects to have a go from distance.
Gordon nods it along. Brown chests it down for Javon Watson. Cato. Duval surveying his options and forced to go to Brown. Jonathan, that is. Trinidad and Tobago native Mikkel Williams finding Gordon. Cheeky little move. Look at the pace and strength that number 91 possesses. Brown felt like he was fouled. A couple of shouts from the Energy FC technical area, but nothing given. And Bijev is taken down, and the whistle blown by Lucas Spalla.
It's better ball movement by OKC Energy FC. All you have to do, just speed the rate of play up a little bit here. Everybody quite lethargic in their decision making, where they're taking 2, 3, 4 touches. So unnecessary, especially given all the space that these teams are allowing you to work with. I mean, there's a good look right there. Energy FC already have 10 players basically inside their half, though Javon Watson now making his way up higher. And you've got Villarreal sitting in the middle. Jordan McCrary's got about 5-6 yards to work with. And then when they, like, not to play fast dropping off, it's a different story, but especially with Shuttleworth coming up. That's the issue Steve Koch has been having, where he's been asking them to play a higher line, and they're just not responding right.
And why is that? Is that a lack of trust? Do they see something else on the field that's making them hesitant to do that? I mean, it's tough to put yourself inside the mind of the players on the field, but you'd almost expect, if your coach is giving you an instruction, to follow it.
I was just about to say, I can promise you this, if I'm on the field to play and my manager's yelling something, I'm going to do it.
That's a rough challenge from Williams, and the card is already out before Williams can even raise a hand of apology. That sorry doesn't fix the lamp, and it won't prevent the mustard from being shown here in the 43rd.
Yellow card to Energy FC's number 55, Mikkel Williams, in the 43rd minute.
Kevin Lehman going to ground here as the rough tackle gets thrown in. This will be a quality set-piece opportunity. Nice little turn, and really lucky, to be honest, that he doesn't catch him harder. Slips that back left foot of his. Fortunate for Lehman to get up and walk away from this one.
Lehman slow to get to his feet. Gets a helping hand from Lucas Spalla. 25-year-old from San Jose, Costa Rica. He's with the Costa Rican giant Saprissa, aka the Purple Monster. Also with Herediano, the two main clubs in Costa Rica and Central America, as this one comes in and is awkward for OKC Energy FC to defend, and it ends up being Lorendi who falls on top of it. And you don't really see a sense of urgency from a side that, if the season ended today, they wouldn't make the playoffs.
Your bread and butter is going quickly in the other direction. Cody Lorendi's got to understand that, especially when Sacramento Republic has so many numbers in or around the box. Pick this ball up, look for one of your outside backs to push up the field high and tell Shawn Brown, even this, knock a long ball and then play off of him. They just haven't done that at all. For as good as this team is in transition, they are really slowing the match down, playing into the hands of Sacramento Republic.
Are they simply content with getting to halftime at 0-0?
I just think it's bad decision making when you look at everything at play. You're hearing shouts from the manager on the sideline. He doesn't like certain looks they're given defensively. Wants them to play higher. Talking to some of the guys in the middle with transitional play, going side to side. It's not fast enough.
Here's Brown on the other end, able to keep it in play. Looking for options, finds Gordon, who tries to take it on the first time. Shouts for a penalty. It didn't look like there was much in that. It more so looked like that Omar Gordon just missed the ball. Simon Elliott is up off his seat, and he's barking something in the direction of Steve Koch.
Notice how they got there, though. Quick little ball down in. Shawn Brown holds it up. Trailing run by Omar Gordon. This is not rocket science for Energy FC. They know what they need to do in order to be successful. Again, they're just lacking in application. Better look at the chance just moments ago. Well done by Shawn Brown. Hold it up, sees the late run. Quick little ball back across. You're spot on, Tyler. Omar Gordon misses the initial one. Jordan McCrary coming all the way back over. No issue on that.
Damas y caballeros, el árbitro asistente está indicando que se agregará un minuto de compensación. Un minuto.
Just 1 minute of stoppage time here at Taft in the first half. A couple of chances for Sacramento, but both were handled by Cody Lorendi with relative ease. And other than that, not much to write home about. Maybe something can get cooking off this long throw-in. Towering header from Mahoney. Williams, half-hearted effort. Shuttleworth says thank you very much. And the first half will end basically how the entire first 45 minutes have played out, and that's going to do it. We're headed to the big intermission here in Oklahoma City. Rather pedestrian from both sides. For Sacramento, a point on the road against a side like OKC Energy FC. They'll probably take it, but for Steve Koch's group, they need 3 points if they want to keep their heads above postseason waters. And right now, they're certainly not playing like it, but we expect the second half to be much more electric and much more entertaining than what we saw in the first. We're headed to halftime here, 0-0.
We welcome tonight's groups to Taft Stadium.
The mission of the Central Oklahoma Humane Society is to stop euthanasia of healthy adoptable animals in Oklahoma City. For us, it's all about connections. We connect between adopters and fosters, we connect internally, and we connect with our donors and our community. Koch Business helps us make those connections. Our organization has Koch Business high-speed internet and the IP-Centrics managed phone system. It really has made a difference. They're always reliable.
Goals are something we outline for ourselves, and oftentimes they can be pretty lofty. When things begin to line up the way we think they should, we appreciate those who helped us along the way, like the help you get with commercial banking from FFB. Our experts are ready to partner with you to help you manage cash flow, oversee accounts through online banking, and help you secure a business line of credit. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
I'd always wanted to get braces, always considered it, thought about it. You know, how long is this gonna take? Am I too old to do this? What am I gonna look like with braces on? With payment options and everything else, nothing's hindering me now, I just need to go ahead and do it. The staff, for one, is awesome. The doctor's great. I know I had friends growing up saying, oh, it hurts. I didn't have that experience. I can't wait to see my teeth without being masked by wires, right? Hindsight, I would have done it again 100 times over.
Score is the same as when we started the first half, 0-0. And halftime report brought to you by Mercy. And OKC Energy FC had their Sidekicks Banquet this week. The Sidekicks program builds relationships between OKC Energy FC athletes and young people with special needs. Check out the OKC Energy FC Twitter page to see some more pictures from this great event. Just an awesome initiative from everybody at Oklahoma City Energy FC. And you saw Steve Koch and Cody Lorendi and all the guys supporting such a special cause and continuing to give back to the community in a big way. Well done from everybody involved by OKC Energy FC. And Sacramento Republic forward Darius Formella scored a special goal last week, hours before he had found out that his father had passed away. The soccer community joins in sending their condolences. Here is his goal as it happened last week.
Here's a good chance. Mistake by Nelson. Aliman moving forward, has teammates to his left. Going to go Darius Formella. Formella! Could he have a second game winner in a row? Got one against Austin, and now he has one. A beautiful build-up after the mistake from RGV, and it's 2-1.
Sacramento Republic FC goal scored in the 81st minute by number 9, Darius. Kevin Aliman, the assist.
He's the winner, in for the goal.
Let's go with the left foot, Jamal Johnson.
With one touch to settle, and now it's by the top of the net. Flag stays down, and Indy 11 has a one.
Ball struck towards the 18, headed on, and headed home.
Oh, glancing header, and he caps it off with the goal of the night.
I think they want dangerous play call.
That one served
in the back of the net. Fresno out of nowhere.
Milton serves it in to the back post. It's off the woodwork, and it's in.
That's in the back of the net. Another cross into the corner, and Hubbard does even better.
Moberg's gonna take a shot on goal
With a cross and a fantastic save.
Good shot for Blackwood. Nice play by Van Oekel
To force him to give the ball up.
Illich saved.
second in the league in USL League One. He's got an opportunity for another curls and scores. Oh, Seguro. Moshobani again. Back heel, Moshobani. He did it again.
Whips it in, finds the back post. Oh, what a finish, Arturo Rodriguez. Through ball though, Demas the other way, Demas saved by Hara.
It's in the middle, still Jaden Nelson, his shot, it's saved again by Giuliano Chache.
Wide open. Fitzgerald covering the mark, still Rodriguez, and stopped by Fitzgerald.
Great stuff from League One and the championship as you got to look at the skyline here in Oklahoma City Energy FC, and that's probably been the most pleasing sight outside of Taft Stadium as neither side have been able to break through in the first 45 minutes. But we'll take a look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship. And of course, the Charlotte Independents breaking ground on the American Legion Memorial Stadium, future home of Charlotte. Some major renovations going on in Mecklenburg County. Phoenix Rising FC. The buck stops at 20, and Landon Donovan's USL San Diego announces that it'll begin playing the championship in 2020. Some fun football in the sun coming for San Diego. How about the Western Conference standings? I want to take a look at numbers 3 through 14 and numbers 1 through 3. Well, number 1 is more or less settled. Fresno and Reno. Who do you think is going to end up in that 2 spot, Mr. Curve?
Take Fresno.
It's fair.
Pretty impressed with how they performed last night. And look, they may not be the most technically talented team, but they have game plans for their matches going in. I give credit to Adam Smith and their ability to execute those game plans is another talking point as well. How about Austin Bold? They've actually gotten out in front. Gotten out in front. They're actually in front at halftime against Las Vegas Lights 2-1. They've moved into 43 points. So currently right now they are tied with Real Monarchs for that 6th position. Of course, Real Monarchs holds the goal differential. El Paso Locomotive, that's nice to see them back in the win column. They're sitting in the 10th spot, and some really impressive games that will be in the near future. Las Vegas Lights, they think they have a playoff chance. You ask me, I say no. You ask Eric, he'll say, yeah, of course, absolutely. I think that's going to be a far stretch for them to get in. They have to win today if they want a chance. Reno Real Monarchs, New Mexico United Phoenix, that is a slugfest. And not just because Phoenix is coming off a loss. New Mexico United will be out without Santi Moar, and they're one of the only teams this year that have been able to beat Phoenix. Oh, by the way, that was an Open Cup match.
2 games between Phoenix and New Mexico this season. 10 goals split right down the middle, including a penalty kick shootout that was won by New Mexico in that vaunted 2nd round U.S. Open Cup game. Still 0-0 between OKC Energy FC and Sacramento Republic. Don't go anywhere.
Outlining your own destiny is something we all take pride in. And knowing we're doing what we love is what makes this life adventure so exciting. Isn't it nice to have a banking partner that's along for the ride? FFB makes life easier with a simple click and snap, so things like mobile banking and deposits can be done anywhere, anytime. Plus free bill pay, person-to-person transfers, and Apple Pay. With free ATMs worldwide, why wouldn't you want a bank that gives you this much freedom? FFB. We go where you go.
Mercy helps the Energy get to the top of their game. We can help you get to the top of yours.
Success is achieved through hard work, and many business owners work tirelessly for years to realize the dream of franchising their business. FFB partners with companies of all sizes every day and offers an extensive variety of treasury services. FFB will outline a plan just for you, help you streamline cash flow, and monitor your business transactions. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
All right, just about set for the 2nd half here at Taft Stadium as Steve Koch's OKC Energy FC and Simon Elliott's Sacramento Republic in a real-life football version of a stalemate. Few chances for Sacramento, not many for OKC Energy FC, but the good news is that we'll show you the scoreless highlight reel that we have for the first half. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro, Devin Kerr. Thanks for sticking with us during the Mercy halftime report. And Devin, I mean, you and I were both hoping for a much better game, and this was the best chance of the first half. Juan Barahona pops it up and tries to beat Cody Lorendi, but a great save from the Puerto Rico International.
Very well done, and quick little touch on the backside of things from the El Salvadorian. Unfortunately, Cody Lorendi would have to make 6 saves, to be fair, in the first half. I just really didn't like the decision-making from either team. Again, technically talented squad for Sacramento Republic. This is one of those things that I'm talking about where you got spaces out in front of them. You got a runner down on the left-hand side. Eni Voltsen, okay, maybe. Bijev would do the exact same thing. I thought this was actually a pretty good look from Drew Skundrich, where he had the understanding that he could just sit on the backside, and he wasn't being marked whatsoever. Terrible marking on set pieces, especially from Energy FC. And if you're gonna go in transition, you gotta go fast. You have to find a way, just turn up the tempo a little bit. The half chances that we saw came in that exact fashion. We put the ball on the deck or knocked that long ball and then ran after it a little bit. Let Omar Gordon to Shawn Brown go with this back line, and they just haven't been able to do it. If I'm Simon Elliott, I'm telling these guys to pick up the tempo in terms of the manner in which I'm playing the ball, where you can go side to side and that's fine, but quit lollygagging with the ball. You don't need 3-4 touches. You need to know where you're going before you've played the ball. So even if you have to take a touch, you need to know where your options are. Now, you may not necessarily be knocking it off right away. One touch makes it go quicker, but make them chase. This is a lot of side-to-side stuff where you just kind of stand in the middle of the field going, have at it, enjoy yourself.
And for Steve Koch and OKC Energy FC, I mean, you had 2 shots, one of them on target. I don't even know where that was. That might just be a phantom shot on target, but I mean, there has to be some sort of sense of urgency. You're not inside the playoff cutoff line right now, and the way that the Western Conference goes, if you drop any sort of points, you're in danger of dropping 2 to 3 spots. I mean, you're right along the spot in the Western Conference right now if you're OKC, where you're at the bottom of that pack that is so tightly bound together, but you need 3 points, and you're at home. Why not be brave, be bold, and just go after the game?
This is really simple. When you look at the 11 you have on the field, you've got 4 quality defenders, in addition to Chris Duval. So you got to keep an eye on him to make sure that the chemistry is there. You got Cody Laurenti, great goalkeeper. Callum Ross in the middle, and then the front 3 that can absolutely fly. So if you're Callum Ross or Cody Laurenti, the minute that the ball is turned over, whether it be pinned deep in your own half or it's in the middle of the field, look up top, play a long ball, and turn the pace up a little bit, because the outside backs from Barahona and Jordan McCrary are gambling going forward. Why not? Nobody's challenging them whatsoever, so if you're going to give them space, they're going to take it. Just got to find a way to be a bit more impressive in terms of decision-making.
Well, the options for Steve Koch and OKC Energy FC off the bench, if they are to go there relatively early, are thin. We, of course, talked about Alvin Jones and all of his issues with the passport and the visa, then the passport. And meanwhile, for Sacramento Republic, of course, Darius Formella still mourning the death of his father. He's unavailable. And back in his home country, Cami Wassa picked up a bit of a knock. He's kept out for cautionary reasons, but you still have the likes of Ray Sari, Hayden Partain, and of course, Sam Warner coming off the bench. Advantage, at least on substitution end of things, has to go to the Quails.
Don't be surprised if Sam Warner gets a nod sooner than later. With all due respect to the boys in the outside flanking positions for Sacramento Republic, neither Bijev nor Aleman were very impressive. Aleman a bit more active, but again, it's hitting the drum a bit more than we need to. But why not when it's not turning out to be the game that we thought it would? Between these 2 squads, Bijev, some bad options on his end as well, where he could have looked a bit differently. 3-4 runners going in front of you. Instead, you elect to pull a strike from distance. And again, you want to do that opening 5-10 minutes, go after the goalkeeper, that's fine, but you're 30 minutes into a match. There shouldn't be a cause for concern when you have so much talent around you.
And away we go for the second half. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, thank you so much for tuning in. Big 3 points up for grabs, but at the moment, it doesn't really seem like either team want the 3 points, and they're happy with the 1 apiece. We'll see how the second half unfolds. Just by sheer statistics and laws of averages, it has to be more entertaining than the first half. Biaga. Cordell Cato, Sacramento felt like the ball went out of play. Former Charlotte Independence man Callum Ross spraying one towards the corner. Great defensive play from Juan Barahona, but he lets it bounce. Omar Gordon just runs right over him, and Barahona holding on to his backside. And he appears to be all right. He's been a solid midseason more than midseason for Sacramento. Late season acquisition for the Quails.
We actually picked him up just before the start of Gold Cup, and it's a rough challenge on the backside. Team immediately reaching there, and it's been a great addition, especially considering the injuries they've had to run through as well. Most recently, Shannon Gomez, who's done for the year. The 1-2 punch between he and Jordan McCrary was quite impressive come the May, June, July. Unfortunately, that will be no longer. Now a chance to not only move yourself to the manager's thoughts about game day selection, but more importantly, he's been pretty much penned into that starting 11 on the left side.
24-year-old El Salvador native who also features for the national team, 14 caps and 3 goals. And had over 150 appearances and more than 20 goals for Santa Tecla, the El Salvador Giants, who usually feature in CONCACAF's Champions League. It's become much more difficult as a Central American team to qualify for Champions League, because even if you win your respective league, you still have to go through the gauntlet that is CONCACAF League, although more teams from CONCACAF League are qualifying than in previous years. In previous years, it was just the winner. Now, it's the semifinalists, the finalists, and the 2 top quarterfinalists, if you're still with me on that.
And you thought that knowledge wasn't going to be useful.
What is it, something like, you know, a 16th of the information that a broadcaster preps for is actually going to be used during the course of a game?
Is that the real statistic?
I made that up.
Because it makes me feel a lot worse about myself.
But then you have games like this where you more or less can break all of it out, and it makes us sound a lot smarter than we actually are. All the way back for Cody Lorendi. Call for Jonathan Brown, who is playing in a bit of a deeper lying role today than we're used to seeing from the Welshman. But then again, with as many injuries and off the field issues, not in a negative way, it always is going to ask players to play in a position that may not be their most comfortable, but that's what makes a true professional footballer, being able to play in positions that you're not necessarily used to. Aleman has it broken up by Cordell Cato, but Aleman will stay with it. Cato just sort of stopped. A bit bizarre from the Trinidad and Tobago representative as Omar Gordon brings it down. Looks like we picked up right where we left off.
Simple 5-yard ball in front of would have sufficed. Instead, we go over the far touchline, give it back to the opposition. Steve Cook's not going to be happy about that one, and Omar Gordon either, who was just right in front of him, frustrated after it went all the way the other side from Chris Duval.
Ina Voltson. Here's Bonomo. First time delivery, clears the grid.
BJF asking him to be smarter when they rotate out to the left. And to be fair, if I'm Villarreal or Drew Skundrich, I am licking my chops at all the space available. When Edie Voltson comes all the way back, Bonomo steps over to the left-hand side. There is just about a 15 to 20-yard gap right around the 18, where as a midfielder, quick little 1-2 step off and you're in.
Pressure from Bonomo. It's soft, though, at least at the beginning, and now puts a little bit more pressure on, and Brown able to clear it away. Well done from Villarreal. Drew Skundrich, who during the offseason got engaged to NWSL star and U.S. international on the women's side, Andy Sullivan, who both attended Stanford University together. And it'll go all the way back for Shuttleworth. Chris Duval was barking for it at the bottom of your screen. He felt like he had a lot of space to play with, but OKC Energy FC elect to switch the field. Here's Javon Watson. If I were to have told you that Javon Watson was going to get the nod at the number 6 role for the Jamaican national team over Kevin Lambert at the beginning of Gold Cup, what would you have said?
At the beginning?
Yes. Before the tournament started.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're
that.
welcome. You asked.
Well, the decision that's going on, we needed to make sure that we were walking a fine line there. At the beginning, I would have been a little surprised. They're very into experience over exposure. They'll take the elder route, if you will. Now, come the end of the tournament, I wouldn't have been surprised at all. And it wasn't just the fact that he had actually done it, but when you start taking Speedy Williams, your outside back, and playing him at center back, the writing's on the wall that it's not going to be exactly what you saw before. Then again, coming into this match, you were quite surprised doing the preparation work that he's playing the 10 for OKC, so it's kind of the same thing.
Well, I just thought that there were a lot of players on that Jamaican national team during the Gold Cup that were playing out of position. I mean, Junior Flemings was playing in more of a 10 role than anything, and that's just not what he's suited for. And you had Leon Bailey, who was basically barking at his teammates the entire tournament. I mean, it was just in complete disarray. It was shocking that they even got to the semifinal, to be completely honest. Corner kick coming up for OKC Energy FC. That's the good news. Jonathan Brown on top of it. Brown towards the back post. DeShorn trying to get there. Right in front of the assistant referee. Went out of play, and a goal kick coming for Shuttleworth. Shawn Brown has been the steady Eddie up top for Steve Cook this season. Always Mr. Reliable. And during that 6-game stretch where they drew every single game, he had a number of late equalizers when they were traveling 12, 13 players to a match. I remember one in particular against Fresno, game that they were just utterly dominated, and Fresno got their goal, and you thought that they were going to cruise to 3 points, and up pops Shawn Brown out of nowhere, able to get the point on the road.
They do have fight in him for sure. Take a look at everything that's going on in the Western Conference in terms of standings. They are right at that spot of that 8, 9, 10 where you need a bit of convincing, whether it's Los Dos and all the youngsters, what their rotation is going to be like in terms of their starting 11. El Paso Locomotive, we have addressed this recently where some really interesting articles have come out from the USL Championship, mainly John Arlia, and he broke down kind of a major number for each and every team. And I told you this, that not only is it a team that's put together the most passes in the USL Championship, one of the most efficient on it. Unfortunately, only 9% of those are coming in the final third. And that gives you an idea of offensively where this team has been lacking, with or without Kiesewetter. Or Sebastian coming back over. San Antonio FC, Darren Powell, it seems like they had gotten their act together, though loss to Phoenix Rising derailed them a little bit. That was a pretty interesting match, and since then, another loss, win, and then the draw on Friday. Portland Timbers too, again, all those like 4 or 5 teams grouped together, you're just not really sure what to make of them because they've showed you some really impressive performances. You go back to Energy FC in that 4-3 US Open Cup match, you and I just kind of looked at each other like, where is this coming from? And it's not that they're not capable of it. We just hadn't seen it yet.
And that was a game that was delayed 2.5 hours as well. That was such a strange night.
All the storms in the area, and now how do you get back to it and replicate it? And that's kind of the issue for everyone in that gray area of whether or not they're going to make the playoffs.
I think the one team that embodies everything that you just said in that whole situation is Los Dos. I mean, they're capable of beating one of the best teams in the Western Conference at any given night, and then they can go ahead and lose to Tacoma, as this is a long-range effort that goes flying into the grid and just over the crossbar. Thomasina Voltson again is right in the middle of it for Sacramento.
This is the space that I was talking about, though. Great little step by Barahona, and then look at the middle. Well done by Ini Voltson, just in behind Jonathan Brown. Jonathan Brown turned around a little bit again, out of position for the Welshman in the middle of the field next to Callum Ross. It's a matchup that we thought would play out quite impressively. Unfortunately, it's definitely fizzled away so far. Approaching the 60-minute mark. San Helena and the Quails need to attack it more often.
20 goals in 2018 for Thomasina Voltson with Orange County. Just 10 thus far, split right down the middle between his time with Sacramento and Indy 11. Although we already discussed the discrepancy in terms of how much time he spent with either team and the output that he's gotten with either side. Missed the regular season double-double by an assist last year. Holton's a man who scoring goals against Tottenham in the Champions League a few years ago. Sent over to Groningen for 9.3 million kroner. We'll ask Devin for the conversion rate in a second. Villarreal finding Ina Voltson, back for Villarreal. Tries to send it towards the other edge of the penalty area. Omar Gordon. Out of the reach of Javon Watson, but might fall for Cordell Cato, and Ina Voltson just sort of stiff arms him. And they'll go all the way back for Shuttleworth. Any guess to the conversion rate?
It's the natural Danish currency, correct?
Krona, yeah.
Right now, I mean, do you have the up-to-date answer?
I do.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm surprised they're not on the euro, first off. 3.7 to 1 compared to the US dollar.
No, you're not close. I know what it is. It's 1.25 million.
Okay.
So you're not close.
Okay. So you had to do the math to tell me.
Yes,
the math.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, much like this conversation between Tyler and I, this game's not adding up. With all the talent on the field, this is just one of the odder performances I've seen from either team over the course of this season.
Watson encouraging Gordon forward. Positive first touch, but a bit too positive. It was a cumbersome first touch and then cleared away by Barahona. Omar Gordon trying to slide one through. Energy parents, sign your kids up for all the new Energy FC Kids Club presented by Supermercados Morelos. Visit energyfc.com/kids club to learn more. Barahona. Early delivery off the backside of Brown. And it falls for Gordon. Can OKC Energy FC finally make something of the space that's being given to them? It's in for Brown. It'll fall for Brown. Now for Jonathan Brown. Gordon has Duvall to his right, wants to take it himself. Now we'll push it out wide for the onrushing Mikkel Williams. He lost one in, looking for Omar Gordon, but straight at Shuttleworth. Probably, most definitely, assuredly, the best sequence we've seen for the home side tonight.
Unfortunately, Omar Gordon actually still down after this. He went to the turf pretty hard after trying to get enough pace on the ball to go after Bobby Shuttleworth to the back post. And some of the mental capacity not on full display for Energy FC, as there was a lot of options that they could have gone here to speed things up. Still a good job to maintain their composure, bring this all the way back around. Just that hip area, overextending himself a little bit, staying down. Nice to see him up and moving again.
Steve Koch gets a brief moment to address the troops. The magic spray over the compression shorts for Jonathan Brown. I don't know if I've seen that one yet this season.
It's an old bros trick.
How do you know about it?
I never use that. Are you kidding me? That spray is fun though. Anytime I'm in the doctor's office, they have it there too. It's liquid form.
It's like an appendix. You have it, doesn't really do anything. No, you can remove it.
Yeah, it's fun to play with though.
Sure.
The spray, not the appendix.
The appendix.
Okay.
Williams goes back for Lorendi. It's difficult to handle, gets rid of it, but right up the middle of the field. Duval. Tiba Harris rockets it off the head of William Bijev. Callum Ross just dinks it out wide for Williams. Ina Voltson, good ball for Bonomo. Even better for William Bijev. Bijev takes it on the first time, and Cody Lorendi sealed off the angle quite nicely. And a corner kick for the Quails coming up.
Both teams going for tit for tat over the past few minutes. Quality buildup by Sacramento Republic. And I love Bijev's ability. Watch him bring this across his body and still win the battle against Chris Duval on the backhand side. Everything comes down to the goalkeeper playing the numbers games in terms of what sort of triangle is this going to turn out to be. Well done going to the near post, and even better save.
Bijev whips it in. The header was actually won by Hansopoulos, but well over the bar. Hour gone here at Taft Stadium. Still no score. Still no rhythm. This has got to have a set-piece goal written all over it, no?
I still think someone making a mistake in terms of build-up coming out of the back is going to cause a problem, and one of the talented attackers, either from Sacramento or OKC, will take advantage of it. Shawn Brown will be sitting there, and you'll see Villarreal or Matt Mahoney trying to create a combination coming out through the middle. Quick little slip uphill jump on it, or Ina Voltson and a quick little 2 or 3 man pressure, causing a disruption on the back line, and that's how they'll get a goal out of it.
Has there been enough real pressure, though, for that to even happen? I mean, there's been pressure, but it looks half-hearted. Nobody stepping to Javon Watson. To Shawn Brown. That's going to work out for Omar Gordon. Mikkel Williams gets there. Callum Ross. Jaime Villarreal is down behind the play. And Cristobal will play it out.
You could hear the shouts from the sideline from Simon Elliott that one of their guys had gone to ground. Quick little stretch for Stefano Bonomo up top before they get back at it. And the maestro in the middle of the field, that is Jaime Villarreal, is going to just receive a little treatment. As we take a break here, everybody grab a bit of a hydration break. And you can just see a bit of anguish on the face of Jaime Villarreal as the trainer tends to the right side of his leg. Hard to really get an idea of where that's coming from, but immediately going to bench Ray Sorry, one of the acquisitions we talked about in the offseason that has proved quite impressive with his play for the Quails, is going to come on.
Yeah, what a story Ray Sorry has had. Sophomore year of high school, and he was 15 years old. Cancer found after a cough had been bothering him for quite some time. He had stage 3B testicular cancer. Lance Armstrong's book. It was a real comfort to him while he was going through his chemo and his treatments. He's big on the stationary bike. He was always thinking, could I be a pro? Could I get back to the sport that I love? Doctors were not entirely sure whether he was going to be able to, and the entire time he just was so determined to get back out onto the pitch, just to play, let alone to be a pro. And about 10 years later, living the dream. And coming on here to try to inject some life into this game for Sacramento Republic. One Range effort always going over the bar.
Unfortunately, his brother's team, Las Vegas Lights, struggling. It's now 3-1 in favor of Austin Bold, as what dreams may come for Las Vegas Lights in the future slowly slipping away.
Eric didn't have you convinced.
He did not, and 35 points. I understand it's only 4 back, but with you've got teams like El Paso Locomotive in front of you with games in hand, it's never a good option going forward. Pushing the 70-minute mark, still no real impressive play from either squad. No one really to poke their head out and go after this one.
Christian Isley, of course, is one that you would expect to come off the bench for Steve Koch sometime soon. Have to imagine it would be for the like of Jonathan Brown, as Watson puts on the brakes, goes through the spin cycle once. Omar Gordon now. You see the frustration from Shawn Brown as that goes out for a goal kick, and there had been an overlapping run being made, but wasn't given. So much talent, so much firepower, so many goals on the field. Nothing to show for it yet. To be fair, in that Fresno Phoenix game last night, there weren't any goals scored until around just a little bit past the hour mark. And then there were 3 goals and 3 penalties, 2 of which were missed by Solomon Asante as Javon Watson goes down and the whistle is blown. Watson is hurt. OKC Energy FC go quickly from the set piece. Ball sent in, won by Mahoney. And Watson is really grabbing onto that left arm. It's just dangling. And Watson's going to need some help.
Though no goals, the quality of performance much better in the game against Fresno and Phoenix, and well done by Watson coming out of the middle here. That's really the first time that we've seen him make a nice little step in between 2 attackers. That's why Steve Koch went and got him. Felt like he could be the link between Callum Ross, Cody Lorendi, and then Shawn Brown up top. Unfortunately, it hasn't played out like that, and nice to see him just kind of working his way back. You can see the overextension on that left arm coming out. He immediately went to the elbow area.
Gordon reverses field. Poor pass trying to find Watson. Long ball the other way for Bonomo.
And here comes a higher line from Sacramento Republic. Not a press, but notice a lot of opposition now in front, making it more difficult for Energy FC. Quick little turnover. This is what they're looking for. Now they go the other way.
Barahona cutting in. It's Aliman. And even those simple passes seem to be eluding both sides. It's not just OKC Energy FC who are suffering from that unfortunate disease of just not being able to pick out the right pass, pick out the right foot. Heavy touch from Barahona. Mistake there from Callum Ross. And Ross commits the foul. His feet just got tangled up. It's an unfortunate call, but certainly the right one from Lucas Spalla. And now a set piece coming up for Sacramento, albeit at an awkward angle and distance.
I'd be quite surprised if the referee doesn't give him a card. Just kind of whacked him from behind after his own mistake. Knew he'd gotten himself into trouble. Bijev, this is going to be on 40 yards or so from goal. Hansopoulos has come all the way up. You can see once again Bonomo stretching. Looks like he's been struggling with cramps recently, and if you do bring on Sam Werner, you could slide him on into the middle and push Indy Voltson up top.
Bijev, a great ball in. Jordan McCrary will come up to take the long throw in for the Quails. Mighty similar to the spot in 2017 where Miguel Gonzalez scored that famous bicycle kick. Who had that long throw in for Energy FC? It's the flip throw.
I remember it. Who was the opposition?
Wasn't Sacramento, was it?
I have no idea. I'm just asking.
for all the information that we spout out, you don't have that answer.
No.
We'll figure it out. Now called against Sacramento. More than 15 minutes remaining. A point really doesn't do either team any good. I mean, of course they're going to take the point, but when you're looking at the standings for OKC Energy FC, still hovering right along that playoff line, not leapfrogging them into a playoff position. Sacramento would remain in 5th. Energy FC will be 1 point out of 10th. Doesn't sound all that enticing for Steve Cook's group. That's simply just because it isn't. Pressure from Gordon. McCrary sees it, deals with it. He gets leveled by Omar Gordon, but Lucas Spalla wasn't interested in it. Mikkel Williams, him and Abiyaga, a little game of catch, and another goal kick for Cody Lorendi. And you could see even the back line is irate with one another because they can't connect a 5 or a 6 yard pass or have the correct spacing. One of the more disorganized games we have seen all year, and it comes on September 22nd. In the heat of playoff season.
And the good news is we have tracked down set information for the match.
You have it?
I have it. I have both. I have both the opposition as well as who provided the assist. The assist you're never going to get.
I won't? Okay,
Never.
So it's funny because there's a last name that's lingering in my mind.
Go ahead.
It's Harris.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know his first name. It's not Atiba. I know that.
It's not Wilson. Brian Harris. And this is obviously talking about guys from the past. Sam Warner, though the past was only a short time ago. Simon Elliott going to look to ignite things for Sacramento Republic. He'll come on. Christian Isley will be the one for Cordell Cato. And this will be interesting to see how the shape takes now. You would imagine with that move, Isley will go into the middle. Jonathan Brown will go out to the wing. Though, of course, Isley is more than capable of doing work in the 11 position. And Matt Mahoney thought maybe his night was done. So just having a conversation here, grabbing a bit of direction. Manomo, we said, has been struggling with cramps, and that was the look they were going to go for.
Can I play the tactical guessing game in terms of how this is going to play out with Sacramento? Warner moves to the outside. William Bijev slides inside. Thomasina Voltson goes into the number 9.
That's a pretty good guess. To be fair, I said that 5 minutes ago, but I like it.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
When?
Replacing him is number 11, Sam Warner.
Damas y caballeros, también sustitución del equipo visitante, Sacramento Republic FC.
Mikkel Williams, it appears, might have caught Kevin Aleman with a bit of a chicken wing, but no call from Lucas Spalla. And that is the Freaky Fast substitution sponsored by Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is proud to support the OKC Energy Football Club. Order a Freaky Fresh sandwich today at jimmyjohns.com or on their app. And Kevin Aleman is real freaky mad right now that he didn't get a foul call.
calling that if you're the referee?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he sticks his arm out, he puts it in his face, moving away from the ball. It's probably the right decision to go the other way. And how about Hansopoulos? He actually went down to the ground, keeps grabbing his lower back area. Based upon injury and suspensions, they don't need another center back to go down. Those two are already their backups, and I mean that in the nicest way. Declan Canon and Mitch Tainer have pretty much been the mainstays on the center of the defensive line for Simon Elliott all season.
Hansopoulos. Javon Watson tried to jump the passing lane there, as Aleman appears to be all right. Here's Steve Koch asking for the movement. I think it's fair to say the movement at times has been there, but again, it's just that buzzword of decision making. Skundrich fizzes one across for Kevin Aleman. Juan Barahona, a nice little underlapping run. Awkward deflection here. Barahona inside the 6 now, but the offside flag is up.
It's a good chance. Go quickly the other way. Energy FC have done a good job defensively. They had good shape, and now the ball goes out of bounds, unfortunately. And just the lack of execution is going to be the topic of conversation come video review after this match is over for both Simon Elliott and Steve Koch. Let's trek back to the original trivia question of the evening. You got half of the first question right, so we'll give you 100%. You're welcome. How about the opposition? I'll give you a hint. Bird.
Bird?
Is
it not Sacramento?
I made that too easy.
No, but I just knew it. I said it was Sacramento.
You're right. One of the gentlemen who actually was involved in that, Elliot Horde, was a poster child.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Of course, Elliot Horde, loanee now from Sacramento Republic, on loan at Hartford Athletic in the Eastern Conference under the direction of Jimmy Nielsen, former manager of OKC Energy FC. It's a circle.
Clever little nutmeg there from Juan Barahona, and then he ends up getting clipped from behind by Chris Duval, and a free kick coming up for the Quails. Ten minutes remaining. Still 0-0. Still have yet to see a pulse from this game. Bijev. Awkward deflection. He devolts it on the first time. Then a goal written all over it, but a deflection in front. Long ball the other way, encouraging to Shawn Brown. Sizing up McCrary. Brown over for Isley. He goes for goal, comes off the backside of Barahona, and a corner kick coming up for OKC Energy FC. This is exactly what we expected, but we didn't get it until there was 10 minutes remaining in the match.
Now let's keep going. Put this ball on the corner flag. Do not let Sacramento Republic set themselves up and go after the Quails. Quick in transition, that's where their bread and butter is at. Unfortunately, as we've pretty much said the entire match, neither team going after what suits them best.
Omar Gordon couldn't get a pass to Voltson. First time effort, scuffed straight into the ground, and cleared away by Sacramento. Jonathan Brown just throws Bijev to the ground. Brown not getting out of his way. Here's Warner cutting inside, lays it off for Ina Voltson, and he makes a mess of it. And when he's delivering first-time efforts like that from 18 yards away, you know that the magic is lost.
Some quality energy coming off the bench, and the likes of Sam Warner, though, cut inside and really bringing into a 2v1 where he's on the lesser end, but it does open up space for Ina Voltson right at the top of the box. You can hear the grid just in the background trying to will their boys to victory. Again, we've reached that point in time in the year where 3 points has to be automatic for this team to continue to remain relevant in the playoff race. Right now, sitting on 38 points. This is their 30th game played. And every team in front of them, all the way up until Austin Bold, who sits currently in 7th at 43 points with their lead over Las Vegas Lights, has at least one game in hand, some 2.
Have you ever seen anything like this deep into the season?
No.
Two teams that are vying for a playoff spot.
I'm sure there's going to be some sort of backlash from the fan base, but I have no problem saying it. This is terrible. And when you get both managers, both managers are going to say the same thing, by the way.
Well, it's terrible because we expect so much from both of these teams because of the amount of talent that's on each roster.
I promise you, Simon Elliott.
Big collision between Lorendi and Ina Voltson there. And it's going to come out the other way.
And Steve Koch are not going to be happy with the way that their teams have performed today. That's not a shot at the talent level or their inability to perform on a regular basis. Tonight, it's just off. It's flat from both teams, and it's just frustrating because you know what they're capable of and you know what it means at this point in time in the season for neither one of them to show up. I get it. You know, we're 85 minutes in. There's still 5 minutes left. But even then, this is one of those ones where if you're at the youth level or even collegiately, you're running after this. I mean, it's plain and simple that poor.
Brown somehow tight-roping and keeping the ball. Good ball into the middle, and Shuttleworth came off of his line, and Christian Isley was that far away from poking home what would assuredly have been the game winner.
Nice little bounce coming off for Shawn Brown here. And this is a massive move by Shuttleworth, coming all the way off his line, just basically excusing Isley from the equation. A little lucky there.
Any sort of touch from Isley, and that is destined for the back of the net. Jonathan Brown rids the defender. Chris Duval says see you later to Drew Skundrich. Javon Watson knocking on the door of the 87th. Gordon wasn't really sure where he was going with it. Ina Voltson thought about the home run ball. Instead, we'll try to find McCrary. Score updates from around USL Championship. Austin 3-1 over Las Vegas at the moment. Has to be expected in Texas. Aleman for Barahona. Ray Sorry. Ina Voltson. Warner wants to take on Williams. Has him on skates for a moment. Now Warner delivers it in, looking for BJev. Good defensive play from Energy FC. Omar Gordon won't be able to get there. Here comes Werner again. He's got Williams beat, but it's on the wrong side of the post. It was called a corner, and you can hear Steve Koch is not exactly happy with the call.
He has been one of the bright lights for the Sacramento Republic squad. He's got a good point. He's going to get a much better angle here. That just looks like Sam Werner skied it into the side netting. He's got another player down with just moments to go in this match.
Isley! Isley! Near Oma! Near Oma! Right! Oma! Oma! There! Stay!
Corner looped in. Won by Callum Ross, edge of the area. Only person there is Omar Gordon. He tries to turn Ray Sari. Tries to get rid of it, and a card is going to be issued to Sari, the substitute, as he's shown mustard here in the 89th.
I don't mind this by Ray Sari, though. This is a smart move on a kid who's done his homework. Coming in as a substitute, recognizes that there's a lot of space to go the other direction for Energy FC. Tries to get the initial tackle in, could have blown the foul there, but quality perseverance by Omar Gordon. And to be fair, Sari actually moved his way back into the 50-50 challenge. It's more so for the first overstep than the second.
McCrary wins the header, but in negative fashion. Isley putting some pressure on. Back out for Watson. Never had enough steam on it. It was the right idea. Ina Voltson now. 90th minute here at Taft Stadium. Ina Voltson striding forward. Has it taken away by Callum Ross. That's an excellent challenge. Good job from Barahona to break it up to at least slow down the counterattack. Energy FC will still try to go. Poor first touch from Gordon, back in. And they find Ina Voltson. Here comes Aleman. And we're hearing 4 minutes of stoppage time. Bijev finds Skundrich. Back for Bijev. He tries to send it in, and Koto Ready prevents the corner. Duvall sends it along the sideline, but ends up trickling out of play. Arahona struggling a little bit.
Now's the time where you reach dig down deep and find exactly what you're made of. A match where nobody has performed over the course of its entirety very well whatsoever. We brought on some substitutes. There's a good shout from Steve Koch, Energy FC. Come on, asking his boys to will themselves to victory with about 2.5 minutes left. Opportunity starting to escape it. They reach for the final spot in the playoffs. Will elude them if they can't find a way to close some of these matches out. And that was the issue they ran into in that Open Cup run in June and July, and now it's starting to come back to haunt them.
That's the good part about these types of 0-0 games where nothing really happens. You can still potentially eke out a win having not played anything close to your best football of the year. But it requires one moment of bravery, one moment of brilliance, and perhaps a disastrous mistake. Into the third minute of stoppage time. As we mentioned before, OKC Energy FC will move into 1 point of 10th place. Sacramento Republic will stay put. Still chasing Orange County in 4th place, while Sacramento will stay in 5th. Energy will try to bottle up Sacramento in their own defensive 3rd. Gordon stepping through. Javon Watson was trying to be clever, but maybe a bit too clever in his efforts, as this time header from Christian Ibiaga. Back and forth we go in the middle of the park. Back from Mikkel Williams. Aleman gets fouled. That's the last play of the game. Mahoney. Skundrich. Hail Mary time. Only one there is Cody Lorendi. Long ball the other way. Dealt with by Sacramento appropriately. Next up for Energy FC, they are going to travel to Los Dos. Meanwhile, for Sacramento, they're going to be hosting Sebastian Velasquez and El Paso Locomotive, as that's going to do it from Taft Stadium. 94 minutes of scoreless football, minimal chances, not the highest of quality. Both teams will have to settle for a point in the heat of a Western Conference playoff race that really can't afford this sort of pedestrian play, but both sides get something for their efforts tonight. Shawn Brown couldn't find it, Thomasina Voltsen couldn't find it. And at all times, whatever 22 players on the field couldn't find it. And your Mass Mutual man of the match is none other than Cody Lorendi for OKC Energy FC, who was able to keep the clean sheet, made a few saves. The best of them being in the first 5 minutes, a volley effort from Juan Barahona. Devin Kerr, your thoughts on it all?
Just one, if you're a player and a manager, you'd like to forget. Obviously, you have a game plan coming in, and wasn't necessarily executed in the fashion that you would like it to. Tried to bring on substitutes in the form of that man right there, Sam Warner. You saw Christian Isley come off the bench as well, but unfortunately, it just all escaped them. And the good news is you didn't drop points in terms of going into the loss column. The worst news is the fact that you've got guys right around you that have made some moves over the weekend. So now you're going to have to hit the reset button, get back into the training ground, and figure out how you move away from a poor performance like this and go find a way to get 3 points next weekend.
Well, we'll step aside for the moment. When we come back, we'll have stats and highlights from the 90 minutes tonight. Final score here at Taft, OKC Energy FC 0, Sacramento Republic 0.
Goals are something we outline for ourselves, and oftentimes they can be pretty lofty. When things begin to line up the way we think they should, we appreciate those who helped us along the way, like the help you get with commercial banking from FFB. Our experts are ready to partner with you to help you manage cash flow, oversee accounts through online banking, and help you secure a business line of credit. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
Mercy helps the energy get to the top of their game. We can help you get to the top of yours.
Tonight's post-game brought to you by Dental Depot. And I think it's fair to say that at times tonight, this game was more or less pulling teeth. OKC Energy FC and Sacramento Republic played to a 0-0 draw. Minimal opportunities for either side. Minimal quality throughout the entire night. And it was always such a shock given how much offensive firepower was on either side. Two teams that are within the top 15 in goals scored in the USL Championship could not produce anything over the course of 90 minutes. And here's how it shakes out as both teams earn a point. Sacramento stays in 5th place, one behind Orange County in 4th. Austin remains in 7th as they are going to take all 3 points against Las Vegas tonight. They just had another one, made it 4-1. OKC Energy FC, 1 point out of 10th place, and Las Vegas 4 points out of 10th. Devin, what do we make of it?
Well, one of the biggest things you're going to take out of that is the fact that Austin Bold is now within really close proximity to Sacramento Republic, who is just 1 point ahead of them, and then Orange County 1 point beyond that. So still a chance for Austin Bold to work their way into 4th place, and this was the conversation coming in. Could Sacramento Republic follow up that brilliant performance we saw in the victory on the road against Austin Bold? They felt like they could beat anyone in the Western Conference. They had gained a lot of confidence. Unfortunately, that's not how things played out. A lot of half chances, poor decision-making really plagued both teams over the course of the evening. I give credit to that man. Cody Lorendi was fantastic in goal. 6 saves in the first half. This was in the second. B-Jeff did a good job letting it run across his body. Just couldn't finish things off.
Well, it's tough to stay sharp in a game like this, but Cody Lorendi was as sharp as anybody on the field, if not the sharpest. This is a good effort for Thomasina Voltima, blocked in front, and then OKC Energy FC slowly but surely would start to get in the game. Fresh legs from Christian Isley proved to be fruitful, but this shot never finding the frame, and Bobby Shuttleworth
trying to do his best Rafa Garcia impression from distance. They're following Comrade out, but not forgotten. Unfortunately, that gets pushed over the end line, and they get a set piece out of it from a corner. Couldn't make anything of that, and I really thought this was going to end up in the back of the net. Great ball by Shawn Brown, came off of reflection, trying to find the trailing run of Isley to the front post. Shuttleworth gambles a little bit. It pays off, and that's kind of the tail of the tape. Look at all the shots, 21. I'm even shocked that 7 hit the target, but again, good job by Cody Lorendi to push all the offensive exploits of Sacramento Republic to the side. And tonight's full-time stats are provided by First Fidelity Bank, proud founding partner of Energy FC.
Well, there you have it. That's how the numbers unfolded tonight between these two sides. Sacramento was looking to catch up to Orange County. Meanwhile, OKC Energy FC were just trying to put themselves in the playoff picture, but it would not be. Both teams settle for a point. Minimal chances, minimal entertainment, but it's always fun when we're able to talk about and view the beautiful game. Until next time, folks, the final score here at Taft Stadium, OKC Energy FC 0, Sacramento Republic 0 for our entire crew, and Devin Kerr, Tyler Terrence saying so long for now, and we'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.